Alright, so finishing up chapter 6. We were talking the last time a little bit about tumors and about how they can metastasize and spread throughout the body. So we can see the dangers of cancer cells. We saw from the video animation how they can become tumors as they develop and start to grow over top of the actual cells that need to be there. If we look at someone who has something like lung cancer, we can see that as the tumor gets larger and larger, it takes up more and more space, and it starts to push the neighboring cells and neighboring tissue out of the way. And so it interferes with normal functioning and eventually can cause death. So why do some of us consider the treatment of cancer as bad as the disease? Well, when you are treating cancer through something like chemotherapy, a chemical therapy where you are going in and killing off the cells with chemicals, that can cause extreme distress in the body and can be almost as bad as the disease. As you're trying to destroy those cells, the cells then have to be removed from the body. Sometimes that's surgically, sometimes it's as the body dissolves them and breaks them down and tears them apart. And so as the body's trying to get rid of those foreign invaders or that unwanted material, it can be so difficult for the body in terms of energy, in terms of being able to fight off other diseases, that we see things like patients who lose all of their hair or don't have hardly any energy. So in moving from cancer and talking a little bit about some of the other reasons that we would have cells that are dividing, in addition to normal growth, normal repair of the body, diseases like cancer, we also have the production of new life and the new combination of genetic material that's coming together through a process called meiosis. So sexual reproduction requires cells made by meiosis. As you can see, here we have the male gamete and the female gamete. We have a adult female who has 23 chromosome pairs, and an adult male who has 23 chromosome pairs. We have 46 total chromosomes, but the sex cells, when they're passed along from the female and from the male, are only going to have 23 each, because when they come together, they're going to make up those 46 cells. So the way that we describe those cells is that diploid cells have 2 copies of the chromosome, so that would be all of your body cells. And then the adult female sex cells are going to have 23 chromosomes. You can see here we have 2 copies, passed along is 1 copy. And so the haploid cells have 1 copy of each chromosome. The way that we look at the 2 different types of gametes being a sex cell, in the female, the egg is going to be the much larger, less motile gamete. What that means is motile, M-O-T-I-L-E. Motile means that it moves. In the case of an egg doesn't have any way to move. It is just being passed through the body. Sperms, however, are much smaller and much more motile. So they have these tails, and they're able to whip their tails and swim in a direction that they want to go. So haploid cells of the body cells include 2 copies of the chromosome. The haploid cells have 1 copy of the chromosome, diploid and haploid. And so the egg has 23, the sperm has 23. When the gametes are fertilized, we go back to having 46 total chromosomes. So diploid, 2 copies. That diploid fertilized egg is going to then start dividing and growing and multiplying and growing and multiplying and growing until eventually it becomes the embryo and then the fetus and then the offspring of the two parents. So notice that we have different number of chromosomes at different points in sexual reproduction, in different points in meiosis. So we go from diploid to haploid and then back up to diploid. And that's just so that we don't end up having 23 chromosomes and then 46 chromosomes and then 92 chromosomes and keep piling on more and more chromosomes, because in this case more and more chromosomes wouldn't necessarily be better. So here we can see the three major words that you need to know in relation to meiosis. Gametes are the sex cells, an egg, also called an ovum, and a sperm. Diploid, meaning 2 copies of the chromosome. Haploid, meaning 1 copy. And this helps us to maintain a stable genome size in a species. So meiosis achieves more than just a reduction in the amount of genetic material. It helps us to get those 2 copies coming from every parent in order to make sure that when you get a copy from your mom, copy from your dad, that you have the genes to make you into you. So meiosis, just to reconsider that, has 2 important features. It reduces the amount of genetic material in the gametes, and it produces gametes, remember gametes, egg and sperm, that are all different from each other in respect to the combinations of alleles they carry. The only time we would have gametes that would be identical to each other would be in the case of identical twins. And so sperm and egg are produced by meiosis. The details, the step-by-step, mitosis, it's hard sometimes when you get the words mixed up. Mitosis occurs everywhere in the animal's body, and meiosis only occurs in one place, and that would be in the ovaries, where the ovum or the egg is made in females, or in the testes, where the sperm is made in the male. So mitosis occurs everywhere in the body, but meiosis only occurs in one place, and that's in the ovaries.